What's the most disturbing secret you've discovered about someone close to you? Story 1. My mother-in-law has a second family that doesn't know about us, and I'm the only one who knows. This is a throwaway for obvious reasons. I've been carrying this secret for almost 2 years, and it's eating me alive. I work in IT, specifically in data recovery. 2 years ago, my mother-in-law's laptop died, and she asked me to recover some important work documents from it. She's always been really nice to me, so of course I said yes. While recovering her files, I found a folder full of recent photos of her with another man and 2 teenage kids. They looked happy, like a normal family. There were birthday parties, Christmas mornings, vacation photos, spanning at least 15 years. Here's the thing, my wife has no idea these people exist. Neither does her brother. My mother-in-law has been married to my father-in-law for 35 years. They live in the same house. Everything seems normal. But 3 times a week, she goes to her book club or meets friends for dinner. She's actually driving 2 hours to another city where she has a whole other life. This other man thinks she's divorced. Those kids think she's their mom who works in consulting and travels a lot for business. I found so many emails. She has a separate email account, bank account, even a different name she uses with them. She's been living this double life for almost 20 years. I've never told my wife. How could I? It would destroy her entire world. Her parents are the perfect couple in her eyes. They're her model for a healthy marriage. Finding out her mom has been lying to everyone for 2 decades would break her. Sometimes when we're all together for family dinners, I watch my mother-in-law act completely normal, like she isn't carrying this massive secret. She'll talk about her book club, and I feel sick to my stomach. The worst part, she knows that I know. A few days after I returned her laptop, she came to see me alone. She didn't cry or try to explain. She just said, "I trust you'll be discreet about what you found, for my wife's sake." Then she acted like nothing happened. I've thought about telling my wife so many times, but I can't bring myself to do it. This secret is like a poison slowly killing my relationship with my wife. Every time she talks about her mom, every time we visit them, every holiday I'm lying by omission. I don't know what to do anymore. Sometimes I wish I'd never offered to fix that stupid laptop. Edit. Holy shit, this blew up. To answer some common questions, yes, the other family seems completely innocent. The kids are teenagers at 16 and 14, I think. No, I don't think my father-in-law knows. He's not very tech-savvy and works long hours. Several people have suggested sending anonymous letters to both families. I've thought about it, but I can't bring myself to blow up multiple people's lives like that. Those asking why I don't confront her. What would that achieve? She already knows I know. Story 2. Found out my best friend of 12 years has been stealing small items from everyone he knows and keeping them in a trophy room. I'm still processing this. It happened last weekend, and I haven't been able to sleep properly since. For context, I've known Jake, not his real name, since college. He's been my best friend, was the best man at my wedding, and is godfather to my kid. He's always been the most normal, reliable guy I know. Has a good job in accounting, nice house, and a long-term girlfriend. The kind of friend who helps you move and shows up with soup when you're sick. Last Saturday, I was helping him install some new shelving in his basement. He had to take an emergency work call, so I was down there alone, measuring walls. I noticed this door that I thought was a utility closet was slightly open. I needed to measure that wall too, so I opened it. Guys, what I found makes me feel sick just typing this. The room was full of shelves, all perfectly organized and labeled. But not with normal stuff. With small personal items. Hundreds of them. Each with a small note about who it belonged to and when he took it. Sarah's favorite hair clip, June 2019. Mike's lucky keychain, March 2022. Tommy's first baby tooth, December 2004. Jessica's engagement ring, July 2018. David's grandfather's watch, April 1996. Some items I recognized. My wife's favorite necklace that she was devastated about losing 2 years ago. My son's favorite Hot Wheels car that caused a meltdown when it went missing. A small knife my dad always carried that we thought he lost during a fishing trip. But most items I didn't recognize. Hundreds of small, personal things that clearly meant something to their owners. All meticulously labeled and dated. Some going back 15 years. The worst part, the little notes sometimes included people's reactions. Cried for days. Still talks about it. Accused the cleaning lady who got fired. I took photos before I heard him coming back downstairs. I closed the door and pretended I was still measuring. Somehow got through the rest of the day acting normal. I haven't confronted him. I don't know if I should. This isn't just some weird collecting habit. He's deliberately taking things he knows will hurt people to lose. Things with emotional value. And he's documenting their pain like some kind of sick diary. Looking back, he was always the one who helped people look for their missing items, always seemed genuinely concerned, even helped my wife tear apart our house looking for that necklace. I've gone through every interaction I've ever had with him, wondering if I ever really knew him at all. How can someone maintain this level of deception for so long? How many times has he sat in my house, looking at my family, thinking about what to take next? I don't know what to do. Do I tell everyone? Do I confront him? Do I go to the police? Some of these items are actually valuable, but most are just small, personally meaningful things. Would the police even care? My wife keeps asking why I've been acting weird. I can't sleep. I can't stop thinking about that room. About all those little notes. About how many times he's watched people suffer over things he took. I don't think I can ever look at him the same way again. Edit. To those asking, yes, I still have the photos. No, I won't share them here. Some items are technically valuable enough to be theft, but most are things like kids' toys, keepsakes, photos, etc. Edit 2. Stop telling me to break in and steal everything back. That's not helpful and probably illegal. Story 3. I found out why my sister's husband spends so much time in their basement. I wish I never knew. Major trigger warning. This is really dark and I'm still not okay. I've been staring at this text box for an hour trying to figure out how to write this. My hands are shaking. Part of me doesn't want to put this into words, because then it becomes more real. But I need to tell someone, even if it's just random strangers on the internet. Some background, my sister Sarah has been married to David for 8 years. They have a beautiful house in the suburbs, good jobs, and seem perfectly happy. David has always been the perfect brother-in-law, remembers everyone's birthdays, helps with family events, great with kids. The kind of guy who shows up with tools when you mention a leaky pipe. The only slightly odd thing about him was how much time he spent in their finished basement. He converted it into a man cave when they bought the house, complete with a workshop area he kept locked because of dangerous tools. Sarah never went down there much. She said the basement made her feel claustrophobic. Looking back, I wonder if that was really the reason. Last month, Sarah asked me to house sit while they went on vacation, feed the cat, check the mail. Everything was normal until day 3. Their cat, Luna, who never goes in the basement, kept sitting at the basement door crying. I mean literally crying, not normal meows. I'd never heard a cat make sounds like that. After hours of this, I went down to check if maybe she'd seen a mouse or something. The basement looked normal at first. Big TV, couch, mini fridge, workshop door. But Luna kept crying and pawing at the corner behind some storage shelves. I noticed the wallpaper there looked slightly different. I don't know what made me do it, but I pulled the shelves away from the wall. There was a door. A small, solid metal door painted to match the wallpaper. It had 3 heavy-duty locks. I know I should have stopped there. Called the police maybe. But I remembered seeing David's keyring in their kitchen drawer when I was looking for the garage door opener. I got the keys. The 3rd key I tried fit. The room behind the door was tiny, maybe 6 by 8 feet. The walls were covered in hundreds of photos, all of women walking down streets, through parking lots, coming out of stores. Some were clearly taken with a zoom lens. Some looked like security camera screenshots. Each woman had multiple photos, arranged chronologically judging by the dates written on them. The final photo of each woman was always the same, them walking alone at night. But that wasn't the worst part. Below each woman's final photo was a small plastic bag containing personal items, hair ties, jewelry, driver's licenses. Some had USB drives labeled with dates. The most recent photos were from 2 weeks ago. A young woman leaving a gym. The last photo showed her walking to her car at night. There was no bag under her photos yet. I found Sarah in some of the older photos, from before they were married. The same progression, being followed photographed, final photo at night. Under her photos was a bag with her old apartment keys and driver's license from 2014. I threw up right there in that room. When I could think straight again, I started taking photos of everything with my phone. My hands were shaking so bad most of them came out blurry, but I got enough. I locked everything back exactly as I found it and went upstairs. I called in sick to work the next day. Spent hours going through missing persons reports from our area for the last 8 years. I found 3 of the women from the photos, all unsolved cases. I couldn't stay in that house another night. I called Sarah. Made up an emergency about a burst pipe in my apartment. They came home early. That was 4 weeks ago. I haven't slept more than a couple hours at a time since. I've gone to the police twice, but without breaking into the room again to show them. I have nothing but blurry photos of photos. They took a report, but said they can't get a warrant based on suspicious photos that could have been taken anywhere. Sarah and David are coming over for dinner tomorrow. She's going to tell everyone she's pregnant. She's been trying for a year and is so excited. David has been so supportive, she says. Already planning convert his man cave into a nursery. I don't know what to do. If I show Sarah the photos, she won't believe me. If I try to break in again to get better evidence, he'll know someone found it. I watch him at family events now. Watch him smile and laugh and act so normal. Watch him put his hand on my sister's stomach and talk about nursery colors. And I think about that room, about those women, about how Sarah's photos stopped after he married her, but the others continued. Sometimes he catches me staring and smiles at me, like he knows, like he's daring me to say something. I keep thinking about that woman from the gym. I drive by there sometimes, hoping to see her, hoping she's okay. But I haven't seen her in weeks. Story 4. I never thought I'd be sharing this story, but what I discovered about my college roommate still haunts me 5 years later. I was a sophomore when I met Claire. She seemed perfectly normal, art major, kind of quiet and really into health and wellness. She had this massive collection of loose-leaf teas that she stored in these pretty glass jars. She'd always offer to make tea for people who visited our dorm, especially guys she was interested in. Everyone loved her special blends. The weird part, these guys would get really relaxed after drinking her tea. Like, unusually relaxed. Sometimes they'd crash on our couch and not remember much the next day. Claire would just laugh it off, saying her teas were really good for sleep. I didn't think much of it until I got sick one weekend and ran out of my usual green tea. Claire was visiting her parents, so I decided to borrow some of her tea. That's when I found her journal hidden behind the tea shelf. It wasn't a diary. It was a detailed record of every person who drunk her tea. Times, dates, and notes on how certain male body parts reacted. Seriously inappropriate observations about people while they were semi-conscious. She'd been watching them sleep, taking notes, rating them on various characteristics and sizes, if you know what I mean. But the worst part, she had pictures. Polaroids of people passed out on our couch, stripped naked, and little clumps of what looked like pubic hair taped to some of the pages. She'd been collecting samples from everyone who drank her tea. I also found receipts for various prescription medications and some sketchy-looking herbs from overseas websites, along with instructions on how to grind pubic hair. She'd been mixing them into her special blends. I moved out that night, left a note saying my mom was sick and I had to go home. Never went back to that dorm room. Claire still runs a pretty successful wellness Instagram, posts about her magical tea blends all the time. Sometimes I see comments from guys asking for her special relaxation tea recipe. I've thought about reporting her, but what proof do I have now? I was too scared to take pictures of the journal, too scared to confront her. I just ran. Sometimes I get DMs from her asking if I'd like to catch up over tea. I never respond. To this day, all those people have no idea what really happened during their tea naps in our dorm room. No idea what she did while they were unconscious. No idea about the little souvenirs she kept. And she's still out there, still making her special tea. So if someone ever offers you their secret blend of relaxation tea, maybe just stick to coffee. Story 5. I'm using a throwaway because I can't even fathom the idea of anyone I know reading this. My life has just been shattered into a million pieces. Jeremy and I have been together for 5 years, engaged for 1. We're supposed to get married in 6 months and just bought a house together. He's been so attentive, so loving. I thought I had everything. My sister, Emily, has always been my best friend. We're incredibly close. We tell each other everything, or so I thought. She's been so supportive of our relationship, always happy for us. She's been helping me plan the wedding, even offered to be my maid of honor. Tonight, Jeremy went out for drinks with his friends, said it was a guy's night to celebrate the new house. I decided to stay in, feeling exhausted. Emily came over to watch a movie with me. She said she couldn't sleep and needed to get out of the house. Around 11 p.m. I went to make popcorn. Emily's phone started buzzing nonstop. It was in her purse on the couch. I wasn't going to look, but then I saw Jeremy's name pop up on the screen. The message preview said, "Last night was amazing, baby. I know I shouldn't have, but I open her phone. I can't even describe the level of betrayal. Years of messages between them. They've been sleeping together for 2 years. They've been meeting up behind my back, lying to my face, pretending to be supportive while they were doing that. Every family gathering, every holiday, every time we were all together, they were carrying on this secret affair. I scrolled back through the messages, trying to make sense of it, trying to understand how this could be real. There were messages about how guilty they felt, how they knew it was wrong, but they couldn't help themselves. My own sister, the woman I trusted more than anyone in the world, sleeping with my fiancé for 2 years. Jeremy came home around 1 a.m., drunk and cheerful. He walked in, saw me sitting on the couch with Emily's phone in my hand, and his face just drained of all color. He didn't even try to deny it. "How long have you known?" he asked. I just stared at him. My own sister, the person who was supposed to be my maid of honor in 3 months. "Please," he said, "we can work this out. I'll end it. I choose you." I started laughing. I couldn't stop, because that's when I told him I'm pregnant. 6 weeks pregnant with his child. Found out last week and was planning to surprise him on his birthday next month. He tried to touch my stomach. I threw Emily's phone at his head. "I'm at a hotel now. Haven't slept in 30 hours. My mom keeps calling." Apparently Emily is devastated that I found out this way. That I found out this way. Like there's a good way to discover your sister and your fiancé have been fucking for 2 years. I can't stop looking back at photos from family events. Christmas, birthdays, vacations. They're in so many pictures together, standing a little too close. God, there's even a photo of them dancing at our engagement party. I don't know what to do. I'm pregnant with the child of a man who's been sleeping with my sister. My whole family is imploding. Emily's husband and kids don't know yet. My mom keeps saying we need to handle this privately to protect the family. While I'm sitting in a hotel room trying to decide if I can raise this baby alone, they're worried about scandal. I haven't replied to anyone's messages. Jeremy has sent 47 texts. Emily has sent 32. I can't even read them without throwing up. How do you move forward from something like this? How do you carry a baby that's going to be a constant reminder of the two people who betrayed you most in the world? Edit. To everyone asking, yes, Emily is my full sister. She's married with 3 kids and her husband is a genuinely good man who has no idea. Edit 2. Thank you for all the support and advice. I'm going to tell Emily's husband tomorrow. He deserves to know. Then I'm blocking everyone except my dad, who's equally disgusted by all this and focusing on figuring out my next steps. Final update. Emily's husband knows. My dad went with me to tell him. Jeremy showed up at my hotel drunk last night. Hotel security removed him. I'm staying with my dad for now and looking for my own place. I've decided to keep the baby. It's not their fault their father and aunt are garbage humans. Story 6. Last month my dad asked me to recover some old files from a hard drive he found while cleaning out my late grandfather's house. What I found has shattered everything I thought I knew about my family. The drive was from the early 2000s, full of scanned documents from the 80s and 90s. At first it was boring stuff, the kind of things you'd expect. But then I found a folder labeled New Identity 1983. Inside were detailed instructions for creating a fake identity. Social security numbers, birth certificates, driver's licenses. All the documents my dad has used my entire life, except they were created in 1983. The person I know as my father didn't exist before then. But it gets worse. There were newspaper clippings, police reports, FBI bulletins, all about a series of murders in Wisconsin between 1981 to 1982. 6 women disappeared, 3 bodies were found. The prime suspect was a man whose photo looked exactly like my dad, just younger. Different name, but unmistakably him. The case went cold when the suspect vanished in early 1983, right when my dad appeared in California with a new identity. The documents included detailed notes about building his new life, memorizing his fake backstory, learning to speak with a slight Southern accent to match his supposed Georgia upbringing, even notes about what kinds of music and movies someone his age should know about. My grandfather, his supposed father, helped him create everything. That's why all the documents were on his computer. He wasn't just my grandfather. He was the person who helped a suspected killer disappear. I kept digging and found more recent files. Bank statements showing monthly payments to 3 different people. I've tracked down their names and found out they're relatives of the victims. My dad has been secretly sending them money for 40 years. The most recent file was dated just last year. A scanned letter from one of the victim's sisters saying she knows who he is, has always known, but understands he's tried to make amends. She's been accepting his payments, but keeping his secret. My dad is 67 now. He's the gentlest person I know. He volunteers at animal shelters and cries at sad movies. Has been married to my mom for 39 years, taught me to ride a bike, walked my sister down the aisle. But before 1983, he was someone else. Someone who did horrible things. I haven't confronted him. How do you even start that conversation? Hey Dad, found out you're actually a suspected serial killer who faked his death and created a new identity. Last week he invited me over for dinner. Just me, not my mom or sister. He kept looking at me like he was waiting for me to say something. When I was leaving, he hugged me longer than usual and said, "I hope you know everything I've done for the past 40 years has been to be worthy of this family." I threw up in my car after I left. My mom has no idea. My sister has no idea. As far as I can tell, only my dead grandfather knew the full truth until now. The man I know as my father is a loving husband, amazing dad, and doting grandfather. But he's also possibly a murderer who stole someone else's identity and has been living a lie for 40 years. Story 7. 6 weeks ago, I inherited my grandmother's mansion and her infamous doll collection. Today, I learned the truth about who she really was. Some background. My grandmother lived alone in this massive Victorian mansion for 30 years after my grandfather died. 5 bedrooms, 3 floors, and more porcelain dolls than I could count. She was obsessed with them, had strict rules about never touching them, would spend hours arranging them, cleaning them, photographing them for her collector websites. She'd always say they were worth millions. I used to hate visiting as a kid. Imagine trying to sleep in a room with 40 glass eyes staring at you. But she was so proud of her collection, always talking about rare pieces she acquired or trades she had made with other collectors. I figured it was just her way of dealing with loneliness. When she died last December, I inherited everything. My parents passed away in a car accident, and I'm her only living relative. Walking into that house alone for the first time was unsettling. The dolls were everywhere, lined up on custom-built shelves that covered entire walls, displayed in glass cabinets, sitting in chairs, lying in beds. Some in elaborate Victorian dresses, others in delicate lace gowns. All with those dead, glassy eyes. The silence was the worst part, just the sound of old wood creaking and hundreds of porcelain faces watching your every move. I decided to start by boxing up the dolls. Get them out first, then deal with the furniture. I figured once they were gone, it would just be a beautiful old house. That's when I dropped one. It wasn't even intentional. My sleeve caught it, and before I could catch it, it hit the hardwood floor. The head shattered. I remember falling to my knees, panicking. These dolls were supposedly worth thousands each. But as I was gathering the pieces, I saw something inside the hollow neck. A small plastic bag of white powder. I convinced myself it was a mistake. Maybe some kind of doll preservative. But deep down, I knew. I picked up another doll, watching it in disbelief before I dropped it, this time on purpose. For the next 2 hours, I systematically destroyed my grandmother's precious collection. Every single doll contained the same thing, perfectly sealed bags of white powder. I called the police. The next hours were a blur. Teams of officers in protective gear swarmed the mansion. They documented everything, carefully examining each doll and cataloging its contents. The questions seemed endless. Did your grandmother travel often? Who visited the house? Were you aware of any unusual financial transactions? I sat in the kitchen, watching them cart out box after box of broken porcelain and drugs. Someone mentioned street value estimates that made me dizzy. They took my phone and my laptop, went through every email and text I'd ever exchanged with her, asked about every photo where she appeared with her collector friends. It's 3 a.m. now. I'm finally back in my apartment, but sleep feels impossible. The detective said they'd be in touch, but warned me not to leave town. Told me not to talk to anyone about this. But I had to write it down somewhere. Had to tell someone, even if it's just strangers on the internet. The woman who baked me cookies and taught me to knit, was she even real? Or was that all just part of her cover? I keep thinking about all those Christmas dinners, birthday parties, and afternoon teas, all happening in a house filled with cocaine-stuffed dolls. How did none of us notice? Update. I know my post is 6 weeks old now, but I thought an update might interest you. The police called me today. What they told me, I still can't process it. The powder in the dolls. A special type of cocaine called white porcelain, Known for its pure white color and exceptional quality, it was the signature product of one of Colombia's most elusive drug networks. The cops said they had been trying to catch the mastermind behind white porcelain for decades. The person running it was known for using antique and collector networks to move product internationally. They never got close. Then last December, the entire operation suddenly went dark. No more white porcelain on the streets, no more shipments, nothing. Last December, when my grandmother died, they showed me photos of seized ledgers from raids in Colombia, shipment codes that matched the serial numbers my grandmother used to catalog her dolls, dates of trades that lined up with known distribution dates. My proper, tea-drinking, cardigan-wearing grandmother was one of South America's most wanted drug lords. The detective said they suspect she'd been running the operation for at least 25 years. The doll collecting was the perfect cover. Who would suspect an old lady buying and selling expensive antique dolls? They estimate she moved millions of dollars worth of cocaine through those porcelain dolls. Each one could hold enough pure product to be worth tens of thousands on the street. The craziest part. Since she's dead, and they can't prove she acted alone, they're closing the case. The mansion and everything in it stays mine. My grandmother wasn't just some lonely old woman with a creepy doll collection. She was the queen of white porcelain.